that. Weakness shoves that right over to the Lions half. Looks like this one's going in. Oh, are you kidding me? Donut S. Oh, Donut, we're behind. We're going to see the barrage. The barrage.
Oh my gosh, Nico is just dominating right now.
What a play.
Oh my gosh, that was disgusting.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Smash Ultimate. Your Carthage Firebirds are ready for another night of some great matches. We have 3 games coming to you tonight. First up, it looks like it's going to be Space Food. Not quite sure who the competitor is at the moment, but I'm excited for it. I am giving word it is Krispy Kreme from Carroll. So what a great name. Always great to see it. But I'm your host, Bearded Man, as the card says. And I'm joined by the wonderful Bunny. How you doing, Bunny?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm ready for the weekend. It's been a long week for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been a long week of classes, quizzes, just a whole lot of work to do. But here we can end the week off on a high note with some Smash Ultimate. And what are you expecting from tonight from our players?
I'm hoping to see some good strategies. Last week we were seeing some fast-paced games, some blowouts. So it's interesting to see if the games will be close today.
I'm hoping we're going to have some success here, and I'm hoping we do not have much difficulties. Unfortunately, it does look like our game 1 is going to be having some internet connection difficulties right now, which honestly, I've heard that complaint from Nintendo in general. It's just kind of I wouldn't say Nintendo, but I know that it's very difficult to get a steady connection a lot of times on these Smash matches. So, last week we definitely had some experiences with that. Ultimately, I'm hoping that ultimately, as I said, I'm hoping that the current match, that first match is going to be rather quick when we set it up. So honestly, we'll be right back while we take a break. While that gets fixed, we'll be back right before that match, ready to actually introduce the match, talk about the match, get ready, and have a great time. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Those technical difficulties have been fixed. We have a lobby, we have internet, we have connection. And that is, I'm happy to say that, and hopefully we don't run run into any more of those issues later on tonight. Knock on
wood.
all of the wood. But ultimately, I'm excited for tonight. And I love saying ultimately because it's Smash Ultimate.
Pun after pun after pun.
It's, I mean, it works. But, going into game 1, Space Food. What have we seen from Space Food in the past weeks? What do you think that we hopefully can see some improvement from this week?
I think with Space Food, we've seen... What is Space Food's main?
It's been a lot of... We've seen Samus and Ness from
Samus
Space
and
Food.
Ness. Yeah. I think that Space Food does a good job of playing strategically, playing space. Hopefully we see some a good match here.
Yeah. I mean, I know that we have seen some issues in the past weeks where Space Food will kind of run off the side of the map, not, trying to, maybe bait the person to come to run off the map, or just kind of, I don't know. I think it's always high risk, high reward. You got to make sure that when you jump off the side of the map, because a lot of times people try to force that greed from the player. If you jump off the side of the map, you have to guarantee you're able to come back, and that is something we've seen from Space Food. It's more of I believe, maybe a 60% success rate, which is not a good number. I don't know the exact numbers of that, but ultimately, more times, there are some successes, but there's a lot of failures, and with that move, when you fail, you cannot afford, the unfortunate situation of that. The unfortunate outcome is the worst outcome. Is you're going to lose a stock. And that adds up really quickly, especially when you have 3 lives in your, three lives to spare. If you do that 3 times in a match and you lose all 3, that's a whole match for you. But hopefully we're going to see some improvement. Maybe we're going to see some other characters coming out here. I know that we've seen some. I've seen him in practicing a few new people as well. So I'm excited to see what he's going to pull out in store. But what are you expecting from Carol? Because I know you were on the Valorant team last season. Did you get the chance to play Carol at all?
I believe we did play Carol, and I believe they were quite a good challenger, if I remember. So this is gonna be a good match today for the Firebirds.
No, we've always had some amazing matchups with Carol from Carthage. We actually had Carol visit Carthage last season. Their Overwatch team and their League of Legends teams coming in, playing up both of our Overwatch and League of Legends teams, and it was a very, very fun event. I believe that was on Halloween. Okay. Okay. I am getting word that they are going to have to do a little bit of testing there. Sorry for that delay. We were getting some updates in our ear, but we are going to go for another quick break while they test out some of these connection settings and such. So it should only be about 30 seconds, maybe a minute. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It has been a weird series of events here, but hopefully we are finally ready. That test was completed. That test is ready. It looks like we are going to finally hop into the first match of the night. A little bit of a 15-minute delay on that first match, but we are here. We are finally here. Space Food versus Krispy Kreme from Carol, which I gotta say is a phenomenal name.
Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme from Carol. You got to add that in. Space Food from Carthage, Krispy Kreme. Hey, they're both food names, oddly enough. You got Space
I can
Food.
Definitely root for someone with a food name.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I mean, Bunny isn't that appetizing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, well, the bearded man is far from appetizing, too. But ultimately, we don't have to worry about that. I want to counter of every time I say ultimately. Sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes it's just kind of, it just happens. But ultimately,
Ultimately, the bearded man will not stop saying ultimately.
This is what happens when it's a Friday night. It's been a long week, but it's an exciting night because Smash, I love. It is a near and dear game, and we are finally heading into match number 1 of game number 1, or game number 1 of match number 1 of tonight's series. Space Food versus Krispy Kreme from Carol, or their in-game name Ivy. Works. I like both names. You know, you can't go wrong. You got variety, but we are going to see Krispy Kreme playing that Pokemon trainer and Ness, or Space Food playing Ness. And honestly, I liked what we've seen in prior weeks with Space Food on Ness. I think is definitely a strong player on Ness, and we are seeing right off the bat some pretty strong plays from him. You know, unfortunately, we're seeing Krispy Kreme trying to knock it up into that aerial. Space Food trying to, float to the side of the edge. A little concerning there. But it's working. You got to be careful, but he was able to get back into the arena and knocking Krispy Kreme all over the arena. Will we see the first stock? We just saw the first stock of the match, and it's Space Food in the lead now with a decent amount on that health gauge. 65% is a good middle ground to be. And we are seeing right away, we're seeing the Nest versus Charizard. What do you expect? Oh, and they're going to Squirtle. But of Charizard and Squirtle, which do you think are the most powerful?
Charizard is really powerful. Squirtle has that more agile, agility kind of aspect, but Charizard really could just... I like playing Pokemon Trainer for that reason, but it's nice to have the variety.
Yeah, well, what about Venusaur in that matchup?
Ooh, I think I will take the Venusaur and Charizard abilities over Squirtle's here, but all really powerful attacks.
I think we're seeing a lot of really good up airs by Venusaur, and I think that's something they really excel at, being able to hit somebody in the air and just cause a ton of damage. And we did see Space Food take that exact hit and get knocked out of the arena for the first time. But Krispy Kreme is down to the last stock in their pool, and we are seeing Space Food proceed to do a ton of damage. A lot of abilities being used. The PK Thunder is a phenomenal ability, especially when your opponent is off the side of the map. You're going to be able to navigate it and maneuver it to hit them mid-air, and they're going to be just any sort of upwards momentum that they're gaining is just going to be stopped. And here we're seeing that again, seeing Space Food try it, but Krispy Kreme trying to swap off of Venusaur, and it did not work out in their favor. Swapping to Charizard, not able to get that ground reset, allowing them to fly, and unfortunately falling. Taking out that last stock, Space Food takes game number 1 of the best of 5 games for match number 1 of tonight. What did you think?
I think it was a good match. What I find so interesting about Pokemon trainers is that sometimes the amount of abilities, the fact that you can switch characters can sometimes become overwhelming. You really have to hone in on those abilities that are working for you in the combat scenario and the character you're playing against. Definitely an interesting character to work with. But
now, yeah, we saw them stick with Venusaur for a majority of that match. We saw very little Charizard. We saw next to no Squirtle, I don't think, outside of the very, very beginning. Do you think that was a strategy? Do you think it was just, what do you think?
I think Venusaur is good because, one, Venusaur has sort of a grapple ability, how we kind of talked about. When you fall off the edge, it's a way to get back up on the stage pretty easily. I also find myself using Venusaur a lot when I play Pokemon Trainer, so honestly, that might just be the go-to, and then playing some variation with Charizard and Squirtle. Those are my thoughts.
I do find it funny that Bulbasaur is, of the Generation 1 starters for Pokemon, Bulbasaur is the least popular. And yet, in this game, might be the best person. Technically, you're playing Venusaur, but still, it's the best person of those three
so
to a
cute.
degree. I think Squirtle's a little bit cuter, in all honesty, or maybe Charmander.
They should all be appreciated.
Anyways, you're not just wrong, but you're wrong. And we're hopping into map number 2, though. Krispy Kreme sticking with that Pokemon Trainer and Space Food sticking with that Ness. Do you think we're going to be seeing something a little bit different from Krispy Kreme here?
Well, maybe we'll see some more Squirtle action as it looks like right now.
Yeah, we are seeing that, and I love that the skins match. The whole color scheme is matching here. We're seeing greens, we're seeing blues, not many reds. If we do see a Charizard, it's not really gonna match the environment. But ultimately, I am happy to see. I think it's always aesthetically pleasing. But Space Food here, you know what also is aesthetically pleasing? When Space Food is just dominating the battle right now, dominating these attacks. We are seeing a lot more shield play, a lot of a slower pace match from what we've seen in previous weeks. And what a beautiful hit by Space Food. I can't even process what happened.
Yeah,
Using the PK Thunder midair to knock himself back into the arena, but also, I believe, hitting the Venusaur and smashing Venusaur out of the arena, knocking down one of the stocks, and we're seeing that again and again. This is unlike anything I've seen from Space Food to date. This is a dominant battle we're seeing here from Space Food, and I'm loving it. You know, I'm loving to see it. We are seeing that these week, or it's these couple weeks of practicing constantly, nonstop, working with the rest of the players, making sure to hone those skills is ultimately, it's paying off, I think. Unfortunately, losing one stock there, but looking at Venusaur's health gauge, it is one hit away basically from another smash. As I say that, great timing by me. I love that. It doesn't happen every time, you know. Every once in a while, I say it and nothing happens. So when I am proven right, it's always a great thing. And Krispy Kreme is on that remaining stock, and oh my gosh, Space Food dominating with that PK Fire there, making sure that just they're not going to be able to escape from that burning pool of fire, that burning ring of fire. And honestly, that's the thing I love about NES is you just hear PK Fire over and over again.
I think the sound effects are quite funny.
Yeah. It's always great. I almost want it as my ringtone right now. Anytime I get a text to hear PK Fire, I'm just gonna love it. I'm always gonna remember that moment. And I mean, I gotta say, I've said it once and I've said it again. This is the best match we've seen from Space Food.
Yeah,
I
agree.
don't know what's happened. I mean, we've seen some improvement, but wow, this is a dominant player right now. Unfortunately, another connection error occurring in this battle. We might have to take another break while we get into match number 3. It seems like it might have been fixed though, so we probably won't have to take a break.
Hopefully
it might.
not.
Well, it might have actually been on Krispy Kreme's side because, as we can see, Space Food is back in the lobby. Krispy Kreme is not, unfortunately. That might have been an issue on their end, which happens. You know, there's absolutely no shame in that whatsoever. But, you know, going into map 3, game 3, if you were Krispy Kreme, you just lost 2 matches on Pokemon Trainer, do you switch it up or do you kind of just stick with Pokemon Trainer, maybe focus on maybe more Charizard or something like that?
I think that I have a feeling that Krispy Kreme is going to stick with Pokemon Trainer here. I think overall, Space Food has just been doing a good job of dodging the attacks and able to get just like combos, as Krispy Kreme wasn't able to get as many combos and just not getting as many harder hits. So I don't know. We don't see people switch up their characters that much, and Pokemon Trainer is still a strong character, so ultimately it just comes down to the play style, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can switch it up like you said, but ultimately I think we might see just a little bit more of a pacing, gaining that distance, because I think Pokemon Trainer is really good at, you know, just kind of close quarters, right on top of each other, and Ness is able to do that mix of, you know, hey, I can use PK Thunder, PK Fire from a distance, cause some damage, but then if you're coming up towards me, I can knock you around with my baseball bat. I can punch you with my hands. I can do a bunch of amazing things. And, you know, you just got to worry about that. And I think maybe Charizard might be able to withstand a little bit more of those hits. You know, maybe Charizard's a little bit of a heavier person, so you're not going to be knocked around as much as we've seen in those past 2 matches. But then if you're Space Food, because this is always a great question. If you are Space Food, do you switch it up for this last map? Because you know that the other person might be expecting another Ness match, maybe switching to counter a Ness, maybe just now expecting that Ness. But then if you switch, you know, if we see Space Food switch to like another person, like maybe Samus, are we going to expect, like, is that the good choice? What do you think?
I think out of all of the characters that we've seen Space Food play in the past weeks, I believe also playing on Ness last week, Ness is just, I mean, even right now, just being so strong with the character, and this just being such a great game for Space Food so far. I think he's got to stick with it. He's using the abilities really well, playing smart, playing slow, dodging attacks. I think he should stick with it here.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of success here, and I'm hoping we continue that. We see that momentum carry him into Game 3 and end with a success there. But it looks like the connection issues are not going to be resolved. But mark my words, the moment we go into commercial break, it's going to be fixed. But to test that out, we are going to take a quick break. Hopefully we can get that situation, that connection fixed very shortly, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to game number 1, match number 3. See, I always mix up those words because I don't know what to describe it, because I think that the exact terms switch it up. But we're still on game number 1 of Space Food versus Krispy Kreme, Carthage versus Carol. But Krispy Kreme, Space Food is leading 2-0 right now. This is match point for Space Food, and we've seen some amazing plays from him in those first 2 matches. What do you think?
I'm excited. I hope he stays with the Ness pick here. He was doing some great things on that last round against Pokemon Trainer, so hopefully he can pull through and bring this last map home.
Yeah, definitely. And I think their map choice on Battlefield is like the greatest map on in competitive, because it is just very basic in a sense.
Yeah.
It means you are going to have to worry about it's just pure skill at that point.
Yes.
Unlike other maps, where they do like Pokemon Stadium, they do if you don't have the settings properly, they do add a little bit of obstacles and environmental changes.
Yes.
But on this map, it is standard. It is plain and it is great. We are heading into that Ness versus Pokemon Trainer once again. Space Food on that Ness. I'm hoping to see some more dominance, but unfortunately, we are seeing Krispy Kreme all of a sudden knocking Space Food around, and Space Food not able to get back into the arena after getting knocked out, but hitting that PK Thunder multiple times, which is the hardest part, I think. So it kind of, it's a rough start, but we did see some success there, some attempts. Some successful attempts that didn't work out. So not successful, I guess. Oh well.
An unlucky start, to say the least.
It was unlucky, but it was a good try.
Yes.
They had the maneuver. It just positioned underneath the stage is not a good place to be. There's no real coming out of that. But is already making sure that Krispy Kreme is going to regret that. Doing a ton of damage, hitting the PK Thunders, hitting the PK Fires, and otherwise causing a lot of chaos for Venusaur. And honestly, fire beats plant types, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So, I'm not saying that PK Fire is working, but as we say that, we are seeing Krispy Kreme switch over to that Charizard. We say that, I don't think that the fire has any sort of effect.
It doesn't.
It did. The changeup did work. Space Food knocked down to the last stock, finally able to take a stock off of Krispy Kreme's. But right now, Space Food is not at a good distance. Is not at a good any sort of placement right now on the board. We are seeing one stock from Space Food left, so he cannot afford to lose this. What do you think is going on inside of his mind right now?
I think with the unlucky start, he's got to climb back from that, and Krispy Kreme seems to be really taking advantage of the different character switches, so Space Food's going to have to get a little bit more creative here.
Definitely, but we did see Space Food timing that parry, using that shield phenomenally, and it really worked out, able to get a really massive hit there. Unfortunately, Krispy Kreme getting that grapple, going up and bringing him down, knocking him into the ground. Space Food trying his best to get more and more hits onto Krispy Kreme to knock them down to that one stock. But will it be enough? And as I say that, knocking him around once again, finally getting the smash. Great combo there from Space Food, knocking Krispy Kreme out of the stage in quick succession there. It was beautiful to see, but Space Food still has a huge margin to deal with. He is really high up there on that health gauge. You do not want to be that high, because that is one smash away. And from what we've seen from Krispy Kreme, it is really working out for them, because they're able to get some really impressive hits here. But so is Space Food. Space Food knocking around, using that PK Fire, using all of these abilities, trying to get back into the stage, using the PK Thunder, and getting back into the stage. But Krispy Kreme is really timing these shield hits, really dodging a lot of these attacks, a lot of these abilities from Space Food. So it's a pretty impressive matchup here all of a sudden. But Space Food's getting some really good combos and getting the smash on Krispy Kreme. That, I gotta say, I was
great.
I was kind of losing, I wouldn't say I was losing faith in Space Food, but the odds were not in his favor.
Krispy Kreme really brought it that round. Yeah. I think I noticed that they were using the Venusaur to get those build-up hits, and then they switched to Charizard toward the end for those more powerful, like hard-hitting final KO hits, which I think made this round stronger for Krispy Kreme, but Space Food coming back. This is the greatest game we've seen from him all season, and I love to see it. Yeah. So I'm super happy. I think that was a great win there. But Krispy Kreme making sure to really cause some issues in that third match, so it was not a walk in the park by any means. But ultimately, that it was a great 3-0 there from Space Food. We are going to take a quick break while we get ready for game number 2, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 of tonight's Smash Ultimate Series. Game number 1, Space Food versus Krispy Kreme from Carroll University. Great matchup there. Space Food having some dominant matches, rounds number 1 and 2. And then round number 3, Krispy Kreme coming back, causing a lot of issues for Space Food, but Space Food was able to come back and have a very great round, coming back from pretty much just one stock, a lot of damage, able to take 2 stocks off of Krispy Kreme, ultimately allowing that success there, ultimately having a great time. But on game number 2, we have Raymond the Goat versus Soren from Lakeland. It is a Battle of Wisconsin here tonight, apparently. We're having the lobby be created here right now. Hopefully we can get that created very shortly. So what did you think of game number 1?
I think that game number 1 was definitely exciting for Space Food. It was unlucky start to that last round, but both players, I mean, really did well. But Space Food was just able to be more dominant and just play more strategically and ended up bringing it home.
Definitely, but not quite sure what's happening with the video right now. We're going in and out of the game. It's pretty interesting. Hopefully we can get that fixed. But I think we are, hopefully, as I say that, the producer's getting it fixed. Will we see it? Will we see it? There we go. We are finally getting into that first match. I don't know what technical difficulties. Okay. We're having some technical difficulties here. For some reason the feed keeps like skipping and restarting, and I don't know what's happening right now. So we're gonna take a quick another quick like 60-second commercial break while we get that fixed. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we can get that fixed. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to hopefully the last commercial break that we have to go to. That was not intentional, not to cover up some issues, but we are finally hopping into match number 2 of tonight. It is Raymond the Goat versus Soren from Lakeland University. Raymond the Goat, we've seen some amazing plays from previous weeks on Ike especially, and I'm super excited to see what we're going to see from him in these first couple matches here. And it does look like in game number 1, the matchup's going to be Ike versus Inkling. What do you think of that?
I really like Inkling as a pick, so Ike is very strong. Ray's definitely very strong on Ike, so it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure.
Definitely. We are seeing them take a kind of a good... We're seeing them almost like play cat and mouse there. It's really slow. These are 2 really good players right off the bat, we could tell. Unfortunately, we saw the fight go off the side of the map, and unfortunately, Raymond the Goat not able to get that smash, knocking Soren off, and Soren was able to come back into the fight. These are 2, we can see, these are 2 really good champions because they're really trying to bait the other person to do something, to trick them, or just really overall get inside their head. It's all about the mind games at this point. But I think Ike being such a fighter, a fighter with the melee abilities, and not really any sort of long range attacks or distant attacks, and Inkling who can do both. You know, he has that hybrid archetype there. I don't know what to expect here. What do you think? I think Ike is really powerful. Inkling has some more creative abilities, like the roller, which is just overpowering, which we actually haven't seen much yet. Which I tend to see it overused, but Ike there with very hard hitting. Very hard hitting indeed. And that is, we're going to see Soren's first stock taken out. But there's that roller knocking Ray into the ground, and Soren getting that hit, taking Soren out, or taking another stock off of Ray's stock pool, and just giving Ray a lot of issues here. Something we have not seen previously. And honestly, I think it just shows how powerful Soren is and how powerful Inkling is. You know, when we saw Soren able to use that roller, knock Ray into the floor, and then just one swing of that giant paintbrush, and it knocked Ray out of the area, out of the arena, taking a stock off. So hopefully we can see Raymond the Goat come back. You know, we're seeing some up airs there, some up Bs, up smashes, knocking Soren all over the map, and using that down B, trying to take that edge guard and succeed there. Unfortunately not, and Raymond the Goat eliminated once again. A little bit of a hiccup there. Taken out of the arena. Raymond the Goat losing round number 1. Soren taking now round number 1. What do you expect? If you were Raymond the Goat, what was going through your mind? I think Inkling had the upper hand there, I think, due to the combos and kind of those abilities where you can really get where Ike would get stuck and kind of stunned for a moment, able to get more hits off quickly. I think Ray's going to have to find a creative way to either play around Soren with the Ike or possibly a different character. Who knows? Definitely. But we've seen some great plays from Raymond the Goat previous week, so I'm hoping that is what we see from game number 2. Now let's hop into that round number 2. And it looks like it's going to be Ike versus Inkling again. Raymond the Goat sticking with that Ike. And I think, like you said, Ike is really heavy hitting. But it's with those combos that he really kind of struggles with. He has his own combos that he can deal with, but Inkling really has that mixture of distance. You can use the roller, knock people into the ground. You can use the paintbrush, knock people around, or you can spray paint from the other side of the map. And I believe if they are painted with that, in this case purple, they will take more damage per hit. So that is another thing that Raymond the Goat has to worry about here. So hopefully we can see Raymond the Goat. I mean, we're seeing some really good maneuvering from both players here. Really making sure to keep their distance, dodge some of these attacks, not falling for any sort of a trickery in a sense. And they're playing the high ground, which is something that's also really good there. Unfortunately, right there, we saw Raymond the Goat trapped in one of the combos, but finally able to get combos of his own onto Soren, knocking them around, making sure to really give them an issue. And this might be a round that Raymond the Goat's able to pull off. Really, but we're seeing those shield plays that Soren is really well timing those well, making sure to really hold and deploy that shield for as long as they can, making sure that Raymond the Goat will not, try and attack them the moment it stopped being deployed, the moment that it is deactivated. And we're seeing more of those those vertical attacks, and that is something you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out for. If you're on the platform and someone's below you, they can immediately attack you from below. And a lot of times, most of the time, it's gonna be a ton of damage. Those up smashes are deadly. And we say that, unfortunately, Soren's first stock of the match, or not of the match, of the round, taken out by Raymond the Goat, but Raymond the Goat is not far from that. As well as we say that, a good combo there from Soren, knocking Raymond the Goat off the side of the map, but not quite a smash. Still surviving with that 3 stock, almost at 200% of that health gauge, getting smashed there. Will Soren be able to come back? But it has evened it out 2-2 stock wise, and we're getting, it's still 4 minutes 50 seconds left on the clock. Very rarely I don't think we've ever seen the time run out with those 3 stock matches. Yeah,
this is definitely a much slower match, but for right reasons. They're playing good shield play, they're dodging and countering each other. It's just not as fast paced.
But we're seeing just some really good timing with that shield, especially getting some parries in. Soren is able to kind of force Raymond the Goat to be causing some issues for Raymond the Goat there. But more and more damage being dealt on the arena. We're seeing Raymond the Goat try and take it into an up air. Unfortunately, getting stuck in the ground again with that paint roller. That paint roller is deadly on Inkling and something you really cannot afford to get trapped under. But I love that ability because you just see, Raymond the Goat, you see Ike throw Inkling onto the ground and just stab him with the sword, doing a decent amount of damage. Once again, those heavy hitting attacks versus the combos. What do you want? Unfortunately, that is going to show a little bit of an answer there. Soren getting another stock taken off of Ray's pool using that paint roller, causing a lot of havoc, a lot of wreckage onto Raymond the Goat. But Raymond the Goat is not out yet, having 1 stock left. Will we see that success here? Will we see the comeback? Will we see Raymond the Goat get another stock? Very close there. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but it's getting there. More and more damage being dealt. Will we see one of these be the smash that Raymond the Goat needs, making it even? What are you thinking? What are you seeing right now?
I think Ray's definitely finding ways to counter some of especially the rolling attack, although not exactly missing it every time, but definitely finding ways to counter it better.
Yeah. There we saw Raymond the Goat take that second stock off of Soren's pool. It is now 1-1, but Raymond the Goat is not at a good point. Health gauge wise is just 1 hit away from getting knocked out, and this round, as I say that again, knocked out of the arena, and round 2 going to Lakeland University, going to Soren. Raymond the Goat has 1 more chance for this week. What are you expecting in that matchup? Are you going to see, do we expect Raymond the Goat to switch? Do we think he's going to play differently? What do you expect?
I feel like he might take the character switch here. I think there's only so much you can do when it's a melee fighter against a character that's so versatile. If you're playing against a character that's versatile, I think it's better to switch it up. But
I'm curious what to see. I mean, Raymond the Goat is a dominant player as well, but seeing how Soren's playing, showing that this is a battle of 2 really good players here. High level matches, but we are going to be hopping into round number 3 once again. Ike versus Inkling, Raymond the Goat versus Soren, Carthage College versus Lakeland University. Who will win? Who will be victorious? We will find out. Right away, we're seeing that attack into the middle. Soren taking a little bit of damage, but able to get a good combo onto Raymond the Goat. More and more hits going out. We're seeing it take to that vertical play and another combo. Raymond the Goat keeps getting stuck into those combos, and there is that paint roller attack, knocking Raymond the Goat off the side, but not to a smash, not falling off all the way, able to get back into the arena. And it's just really all about this edge play here. We're seeing both of them really trying to force the other person off the side, really knock them around, and we're going to see the edge guarding. I didn't even think that was possible. I believe we saw England throw a paint grenade vertically, knocking Raymond the Goat into the air, but Raymond the Goat getting a smash onto Soren, having a great time there. Will we see more and more of that? You know, when you're at this health percentage, it's a very scary moment. What do you think's going through his head right now?
I think he's just trying to get as much damage off as possible before hopefully not getting one of these huge hits off the edge. There's a lot of movement going around on the stage, and as that happens, they almost fall.
This is what Smash it scares me sometimes, is when both players go to the side of the map, falling off, trying to do that aerial plays, making sure that one missed input is going to be the death that means the game. The game determining death there. But we're seeing both players be able to get back onto the arena without much of an issue. We are seeing that amazing shield play, though, from Soren, able to grapple onto Ike, spin him around, and throw him off this side of the arena, taking it to 2-2 in the stock pool. Some great strategy there. But honestly, I mean, we're seeing this. We've seen it from rounds 1 and 2. We're seeing Soren on Inkling just get some really good combos, be able to grapple Ike, really just maneuver him and force him into these attacks. And it's really unfortunate to see.
The goo is no joke. It really does a lot of damage and really adds that extra combos that really are intense.
Definitely. But, I mean, we're seeing an improvement from Raymond the Goat, though, from round 1. We're seeing a lot more damage being done to Soren, so it is by no means any sort of cakewalk here. More and more damage going out, but that vertical, being able to return to the arena, we're seeing that Soren has that down, has, like, no fear, it seems, being able to do it, guaranteeing that return into the fight. Unfortunately, it's the paint roller again, allowing or causing Ray to lose another stock knockdown, and this is it. Raymond the Goat is on the last stock of his pool if he loses another life. But before I finish that, before I say that, we see Raymond the Goat knocking Soren down to their last stock as well. It is head-to-head battle of the Titans. It is amazing to see here. Two really good players battling it out for supremacy. And I would never be able to play at this rate. I think it's always fun to watch this. You know, these two players who really know the game down to the frames, down to the inputs. It's all about that timing, and it's very clear that they know that timing. They are very comfortable on these fighters. Unfortunately, though, Raymond the Goat getting knocked out again out of the arena and losing round number 3 to Soren. That was unfortunate to see. Returning to the arena and getting knocked immediately off the side. That great edge guarding from Soren there. What do you think was the biggest downfall from these 3 matches from Raymond the Goat?
I believe that Raymond the Goat showed improvement throughout 3 matches and was able to counter some of those attacks and not get as stuck in the combos. I think that overall, Inkling there just had the upper hand in abilities, but also just both great players regardless of character. It was a close match, and I like to see that the games were a little bit more slow paced and lasted a lot longer than most of our matches. You know, that really shows the talent in our opponents.
Yeah, and I think it's all about strategy too. I mean, it's not that like Space Food, a little bit more of a faster paced game. It wasn't necessarily that Space Food was not a very talented player. It's just a whole different experience.
Yeah.
You know, you have two people who are really trying to play the mind games,
Yes.
really waiting for those opportunities to throw the combos, or you have the people who are not so much waiting for that time. It's all about making sure that you are causing as much chaos and havoc that the other person can't keep up. And ultimately, it's just two very different games at that point. But that was game number 2 of tonight. Unfortunately, Raymond the GOAT not able to secure a win there for this week, but I'm hoping for next week as we head into game number 3 of tonight. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break while we get ready for that match. It might be a little bit shorter than 5 minutes. I'm not quite sure, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back. How's it going, everybody? And welcome back. We are at game number 3 of tonight. An amazing, amazing games number 1 and 2 from Space Food and Raymond the GOAT. And I'm excited for game number 3, our final match of tonight, of this week. It is Fuzzy versus the Edgewood College Eagles. I believe it is Kieran specifically from representing Edgewood. Now, from Fuzzy, what are you expecting from this matchup?
We have seen some great matches from Fuzzy these past weeks, so I'm expecting nothing less than what I've seen in the past.
Oh, yeah. Now, Fuzzy coming off of that amazing victory last night on Overwatch as well, giving the very first map losses to the #1 team in the Overwatch division.
Wow.
And Fuzzy was a great player in that match, being able to hype that up, being able to come off of that, and I'm hoping we see that translate. Now we are seeing Yoshi versus Iggy, a matchup that we are, honestly, I don't see that much Iggy.
The Mario matchup.
The Mario matchup indeed. Honestly, though, I think Yoshi might be the better choice here, a little bit more of a hard hitter in a sense. I think Iggy has a lot more of the abilities, a lot more of that versatility, but ultimately it might just come down to Yoshi having the better hits, and also Fuzzy being just the player that he is. And right off the bat, we're seeing that dominance from him. We are seeing hit after hit. Yoshi is having a phenomenal time, and it is proving me right, and I'm really happy about that. Because, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes they prove me wrong. But we are seeing, Iggy pulling out some of those abilities. Do you think that is going to cause Fuzzy any sort of issue?
Iggy has some pretty good combos and it's really good at moving around the map very quickly, so Fuzzy's gonna have to keep up with that, but it seems like Fuzzy's not having too much of a problem with that right now.
No, but that drill attack there from Iggy, I know from personal experience, is something you do not want to be caught into. It is allowing to do a lot of damage in a quick little moment there. It's a good combo, but Fuzzy is unfazed. Will we see more success from Fuzzy here? I am loving to see this matchup. Not even down to 2 stocks. I would be shocked if Fuzzy's able to retain these 3 stocks for the rest of this match. And as I say that, there you go.
You always call it.
It's weird. There is no shame, though, to losing that because he was at such a high health gauge. And ultimately, it's not about that. It is about knocking your opponent out. And we are seeing Fuzzy make sure that enough damage is being dealt to Kieran, to the Edgewood Eagles, to just give them an otherwise a bad time, a little bit of a difficult time. It's funny, though. Iggy can deploy these little robots that Fuzzy can pick up and throw them back at Iggy. So this, in professional competitive Smash Ultimate, there are no items, because in the normal game there are items to help you with the abilities. But when you're playing Yoshi and you're playing Iggy, it's kind of a little bit of a gray area, because Yoshi can throw the eggs and Iggy can deploy those robots.
Right.
But that is something's going right there for Fuzzy, because Fuzzy having just a great time there against Iggy. I think Yoshi might have been, like I was saying, the matchup. Iggy was able to do that 1 stock off of Fuzzy's pool, being able to do enough damage, but ultimately it worked out for Fuzzy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Fuzzy was doing a great job of, after the first initial kick close range attack, then would throw the egg, get that extra damage and also more knockback on the Eagles there, and was just able to get those combos over and over again. And Iggy just wasn't able. Iggy as a character can't do very many hard-hitting hits, and I feel like Yoshi's selection is just overpowering there.
Oh, yeah.
But also, Fuzzy is a great player. That also plays into it as well.
Fuzzy is just, I say this, Fuzzy is Fuzzy. He's just, you gotta know. Just a dominant player, and also one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
So true.
Overall, the perfect person for this esports program. Everybody on the Smash team is amazing people. In the game and out of the game as well, which is, I'd love to see it. That is exactly what we are all about here. So heading into map number 2, though, are you expecting the same matchup, Yoshi versus Iggy, or are we going to see a switch up here?
I will be surprised, to say the least, I think, if we see Iggy again. I think that in this situation, I think the character change is going to be extremely beneficial, not only because right off the bat you can see how strong of a player Fuzzy is, so you might need to switch it up, make it a little bit more confusing for him.
Pull a quick old switcheroo there.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes very shortly here. Honestly, I was loving the Yoshi, so I'm hoping that Fuzzy sticks with that, but we will see very shortly as well. I'm loving this though. I'm loving that round was a great round to watch. Hopefully we can see more of that because I like to be amped up. I like it when, I wouldn't say I like it when one player's dominating the other in a sense, but we are seeing a switcheroo here. We are seeing Edgewood switching to Sephiroth from Kingdom Hearts, I believe. No, maybe Final Fantasy. I'm not. I forget where Sephiroth is from. I'm pretty sure it's Kingdom Hearts here, because I know that
it's Final Fantasy.
It is Final Fantasy. I'm pretty sure there's a crossover there with some Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But right away, oh my gosh. Fuzzy, what a player, doing so much damage, and I wasn't even done talking about. I couldn't even say Sephiroth. what a matchup here. Fuzzy's having a great time, and honestly, the background is hard to watch sometimes. It's throwing me off. I'm loving this though. We are seeing Fuzzy throw eggs at these massive dark matter orbs. It looks like. And it's working out. Fuzzy able to take the first stock off of the Edgewoods pool. And we're seeing more Yoshi sticking out that tongue towards Sephiroth. And Sephiroth using that sword. So who do you think would win, the tongue or the sword in a sense in this matchup?
I'm assuming the sword.
One would think the sword, but honestly, the way Fuzzy's playing it, like that tongue is causing some issues here. Using that egg as well. Amazing parry there. Amazing counter from Fuzzy. Able to kind of stun Edgewood in that moment. And more damage being dealt. Will we see a smash here? Throwing the eggs, hitting the egg mid-air, knocking Sephiroth onto their last and final stock. Do you think Fuzzy's going to be able to 3-0 this?
I think it's possible. I mean, it's looking close here now, but
it's a little scary. Fuzzy, so close. It was for a moment there. I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to be able to come back? Unfortunately not, but there's no shame in that. That was a very, I think it is one of the most difficult things when you're playing at such a high level to have somebody sweep the other person in a round, especially. And Fuzzy getting that final stock. There you go. So close to a 3-0.
That's true.
Hey Fuzzy, if you're watching this, why not? Why didn't you do that? I know you're a great player and all.
Maybe next time.
But why you prove me wrong again? For the first time tonight, why are you proving me wrong? But round number 2, though, I love that. I love to see that from Fuzzy. Sephiroth was able to cause a little bit more issues than Iggy, but it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
What do you think is going wrong there?
I think Fuzzy's movement overall is just really good, and I think that Sephiroth was good for those hard-hitting down attacks, do a lot of damage, powerful, but just could not really compare to the agility that Yoshi has.
Oh yeah, and those eggs are deadly. In all honesty, those eggs are deadly, especially when you are trying to get back into the arena. One well-placed egg, and we can see Fuzzy knows that trajectory. He has it down. It is muscle memory at this point. He is hitting. I would love to see the accuracy of this because it really is. He's hitting all of those shots, making sure to use the eggs in the perfect moment, the perfect frame to get him back into the arena or to hit Sephiroth. But going into map number 3, what do you think is going through Fuzzy's mind right now, and what do you think is going through Edgewood's mind? Fuzzy
is probably feeling like I'm dominating Yoshi right now. This is going good for me. The Sephiroth pick, I think that it's possible that I can bring it to a close game. I think they have the potential, but we'll just have to see how this goes. We will see right off the bat, though. Fuzzy throwing that egg, hitting Sephiroth in the face, just setting the tone of the match. I think, you have that projectile, you have that versatility. You have the heavy-hitting punches from Yoshi while also being able to do a lot of really well-timed poke damage from the distance and being able to basically run and fly up mid-air, fly back into the arena is going to just be the winning condition there. Fuzzy trying to hit the egg, unfortunately missing,
missing the Sephiroth, but is able to aim those eggs and hit those fireballs mid-air, ensuring that they are not even going to touch him. Not a care in the world, it seems, and is knocking Sephiroth around like they're a punching bag. What an amazing match. Unfortunately, Fuzzy getting knocked out of the arena. I was going to say, might have been able to time it, but just great timing there from Edgewood, from the Sephiroth. And finally, Fuzzy evening it out. It is now 2-2 with zeros across the board. We are basically restarting. What a feat here. What a great matchup now. Fuzzy getting those combos in, getting those jabs in onto Sephiroth and just knocking them around, causing them so much damage. Will they be able to fall off? Fuzzy trying to go into the air, try and cause the battle, trying to get a down smash there, but is missing that. Getting back into the arena though, and is just otherwise guarding that edge as if it is the best. It is the most important edge at that point. And getting that up smash, taking Sephiroth down to their last stock, and still remaining at 42%, 49% on the health gauge, and more attacks. It's this vertical play, knocking Sephiroth into the air, making sure that they really are having a bad time. And Fuzzy, with as if it was the easiest thing in the world, which I know for certain it was not, knocking Sephiroth there without barely taking any sort of hits on that stock there. 3-0 already. That was a quick matchup.
That was a quick matchup.
That was a really quick matchup. Now, what did you think overall of that?
Fuzzy just hitting.
I can't believe we're already done.
Just hitting combo after combo, and Sephiroth was definitely getting better at the timing, and was definitely putting up a good fight in that last round. But just Fuzzy, man, he just gets on a roll, and I'll be the first to say that Yoshi is an annoying character to play against. Those eggs, the projectiles and everything, they are so annoying. But Fuzzy knows how to play it so well, and you can really see that.
Definitely. Sephiroth in that last round especially really causing some issues. Wasn't a cakewalk, getting the first elimination of the round as well, which set the tone, because when you get knocked off a stock, you have to really worry about that. You have to sit there and be like, okay, especially after those first 2 rounds, you have to really sit there and be like, okay, this person could genuinely be winning this round, and we're going to be going into another round. You have to be on the edge of your seat the entire time. You can't just relax and just be like, oh, it's a walk in the park. At no point were any of those rounds a walk in the park. Fuzzy, as much as we might seem to hype it up, Fuzzy was able to continue and keep that level head, it seemed, and just constantly made sure to put in 110%, and it really paid off. Now, Sephiroth, I think, was the pick, though, switching off of Iggy. Definitely a change of pace there. But that is all we have for tonight. To the viewers at home, thank you so much for watching, for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all of our social medias at Carthage Esports. We will be back on Monday with a special event that we'll probably be announcing on Monday, so definitely tune into that. To the viewers who don't know about that, to the viewers who do, hope to see you there. But we'll be back as well, Carthage Esports, on Tuesday with some Rainbow Six Siege. I believe it's going to be around 7 o'clock, maybe a little closer to 8. I think it's 7:30. I'm not quite sure. It'll be on our social medias, so why don't you go follow that?
Good idea.
So thank you so much for watching. You have been amazing. Have an excellent weekend, and we hope to see you next week.
The high Wheaton shoves that right over to the Lions half. Looks like this one's going in. Are you kidding me? Donut over behind. We're gonna see the barrage. The barrage.
Oh my gosh, Nico is just dominating right now.
What a play!
That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
That was disgusting.